we should have a product which automate everything that happens in the kitchen worldwide. Like that is our vision, and we'll be building products on that.
Can you start by telling us a little bit about your journey? Like, how did you get started with Nosh? How did you get the idea, and how's been the journey so far?
How it all started is like basically we are dual working, and we are Gujarati. So we crave for Gujju food, and we try to teach our cooks a little bit of tricks, but it didn't work out perfectly. So that's where the inspiration for this thing came up, that there should be something which can give us food as per our taste requirement. And then I spoke to almost all my friends who are like moved to a new city, and realized that everyone had a problem. Either they ignore it or they think about it, right? So most of people end up saying that chalega or will exist, right? So but then at a core they are not happy, though they are earning well. They feel that this is something they miss moving to a new city. So that's where with that insight this thing started, and we started playing with mechanism. When we started the first question is, can it be done? Right, like we were not sure because it felt technically complex for a device to cook completely automatically. So we started playing with mechanism, dispensers, getting things right. It took good 5 years of R&D before we could launch the product. So yeah, that's been the main inspiration and journey so far.
I'm quite familiar with the problem. So me and my partner both as well are working, and so we kind of know these challenges of like, okay, like how do we really get like good home cooked food that we both like without us spending a lot of time on it?
Yeah.
And so like if you kind of go into ordering or eating out a lot, that gets a little bit unhealthy. If you try it with like a home cook, it never quite gets there, and so there is definitely a gap to be addressed there. But yeah, I think it's quite interesting that you're trying to solve this with another appliance that essentially like people like you and I can purchase and use at home. Can you tell us a little bit more about what kind of customers would this appeal to?
It started with a working couple or a dual working family, right? Is the target audience. And what we realize is people who are choosy about their food are the one they are going to buy first. So there's an adoption journey, and we see that people are choosy. They are trying a lot of things to get their food as they want, are going to buy this first. So that is the main customer segment we are targeting. And this is true for India. We see a very low hanging fruit market, which is the NRIs. And this is US, UK, Australia, right? So that's going to be the other market where we are going to play for initial years. It will have its own adoption curve, but these are the segments which are going to adopt it first, and then it is going to spread over. So the price point we are planning, like personally, I feel that even a single working household, which is decently well-to-do, also will adopt it eventually, because I go to my hometown and all my bubbies and relatives ask for it. Because one thing is like the generation which we grew up, like millennials plus, no one really want to spend time cooking, right? So our mothers and their entire generation went on making the food right. But the new generation really don't want it. Like they are doing it because they feel that is the only way they have a value in the society. But overall, they are always looking for some avenues to get convenience on their food.
Can you tell more about how the actual product works?
So how it works is like it has recipes. So you, from the mobile app, you choose a recipe, and then it will guide you to preparation steps. So it comes with a tray. We call it ingredient tray. You put the ingredients in that ingredient tray and put the tray in and command it to cook. It follows the recipe and cook completely automatically. And the spices, the water, the oil actually stored inside the product itself. So it takes as per the recipe, the spice and your customization. Take as per that and then cook for you. The main feature is you can customize your spice level, salt level, oil level. So you get a food as per your taste.
What kind of things can you cook with it? Can you give some examples of like
Yeah.
some popular dishes?
So it can cook all the curries, sabjis, like curries means paneer, palak paneer or chicken curry, all type of those curries it can make. It can make dry sabjis, cabbage sabji, bindi sabji. It can make rice dishes, pulao, simple biryani. That it can make. It can make poha upma, kind of breakfast dishes. It can make sweet, carrot halwa, suji halwa, kheer, all that it can make. So in a broadly, whatever you cook in a pan or pot, it can make. It can make pastas, it can make Asian dishes, chow mein, noodles, all that it can make. So it is quite versatile. It can make soups. So it is quite versatile. Like essentially, you can imagine whatever you do in a pan, this can do automatically.
Right.
So yeah.
When did you get started on this?
So we started. So I think inspiration was around 2017. We got full time on this around 2018, early 2018, around March. We got fully into it. We started building POC, which is called proof of concept. So we built. So as I told, right, our first question was, can we really do it? So we built a POC which was like quite large, but we were able to say that okay, it can cook a good food. Like so from day one, the idea was we'll not make a device which will not, if it is not able to make food taste like human cooked food. Like if people say that okay, this is machine, like in the tea that happens, right? Like you have machine tea or handmade tea. There is always a difference. We never wanted that. So we are like, if we achieve the taste, then we'll build this company, otherwise not. So we did POC, we improved on mechanism, getting the taste right. So the entire 2018 more or less went into that. By end of 2018, we had a proof of concept which can cook excellent food, but it doesn't look good, it is big, etc. And during that time, we actually got a lot of interest from the cloud kitchen. Swiggy, EatFit, Rebel Food. So we were working with them to get a perfect product for their requirements. So 2019, early 2020, we were working on that. So it was a small pivot, I would say, because we were like that time we were quite open to both the part, B2C, B2B, and we were trying to understand where is the pull, right? So we wanted to go for a pull, then push. So that's why we did that. But eventually around 2020, so this all companies are new, they are new age startups. And one thing we realized is when 2020 COVID hit in, their business got affected. How that thought process also changes. They have to do a cold chain system because demand is not predictable and food waste is a major cost factor. So these companies, when they go for profitability, eventually they end up adopting cold chain. So that kind of hit us badly during the COVID time. And then we went to again the whiteboard, thought what can we do? Shall we create value something in the entire restaurant industry chain? So if you see food side, right, there are three things. One is enterprise, which is this large cloud kitchen brands. Second is SMEs. This is mom and pop restaurants. And third is the home kitchen, right? So we actually were debating where do we go? Like, do we go? So enterprise opportunity, we felt that is weak. Then there's little we can do that. Or it will be a customization service kind of thing, not a product opportunity. And then we came to SMEs. But SMEs, we spoke to a lot of restaurants during that time, and we realized that they expect a lot of things to get done by one person. And like the value in thing is cost. Like they want cost to be saved. And there are other factors like there is regular, like people you can't depend on, this you can depend on. There are other factors, but everything was, when the decision making was coming in, it was all about cost. And the realization we had was we can't save cost for them, because the worker during the on shift they do food preparation, off shift he does cleaning, he does preparation, everything. So we realized that it is not a perfect opportunity for a mom and pop kind of restaurant. So, and then we chose home kitchen, which was always close to our heart because it started with that. And we even when we did in cloud kitchen, there was one project going on. We were slowly building up the NOS, right? So that way we came back again, went full in 2020 September onwards. Good thing is like we could build a proto completely working, we call alpha proto, by early 2021. This is what we use for apartment demos. We what we used to do is like after the proto we went to apartments, demonstrated the capability and got the feedback saying that what they expect out of this kind of product. And that kind of gave us a lot of insight. We kind of try to take the pre-order also. So we knew that who are the customer going to convert first. So what are their concern around the product, cleaning, right? So all those we captured. We did we started doing trials. We put it to different customers' house, got the feedback how the product should be. This was our alpha prototype. So we gathered all the feedback, started building on the second updated prototype. This is also we built couple of units. We call beta 1. So beta 1 again we build a prototype, circulate around people, got feedback. So I think where we took time is the balancing of what effort you save in cooking should not go in the cleaning. Right? So making cleaning very well, making sure that hygiene is taken care of. That is where we went through a lot of iteration, like which we also work with our customer directly, got continuous feedback on that, and then we took and reliability, like basically cleaning and reliability is where we took time to get it right. So it almost took 2 years to get that right, like a product which was working, but cleaning was effort. It was not as reliable as it's supposed to be. Things were breaking and stuff. So it after alpha we had beta 1, beta 2, beta 3, and beta 3 became the final product.
So I remember I attended this Nosh demo at I think the terrace of your office a few weeks back, and it was I think with your co-founder Amit, and it was really kind of a wow experience that you put in the ingredients, you turn it on, you select the recipes, and 20 minutes your food is ready.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of a like a really eureka moment that okay, like food is ready and I didn't have to cook. So that was quite good. You spoke about good food, and I think food is something that that is very personal to people. Like it's you would think that like people would acclimate to some standardized taste, but really people have their own preferences, their own how they want their food to be cooked. In terms of customizations, like of this taste and preference, like what sort of features are there in Nosh to control this taste and preference?
Yeah, so completely agree. Every household has a different taste, right? Like people say food taste changes 200 kilometers every 200 kilometers. I would say every house to house the food taste changes, and the major part of it is your spice level, oil level, and salt level. That is one broader thing that changes between houses. So that we have taken care by given a customization level. So you can customize these 3 things as per your requirement. And also we are building up more customization per recipe. You can customize the doneness, you can customize your gravy thickness, right? You want very watery or thick, all those things, right? That also we are giving per recipe customization. And we are also building up an engine where user can customize our recipe. So it comes with 200 recipes, and you'll able to customize and make it your own. So initially our plan was to give a recipe creation app we created and gave it to our customer. But overall feedback was it is effort. It is too much effort while they want it to be slightly changed. So one insight there is that, so if you see entire India, right, number of ingredient or kind of ingredient we are having are not very, very different. Like you go to any market, west, east to west, the ingredients are very, very similar. You get almost similar ingredients, maybe one or two addition, deletion kind of thing. Spice, there is a good difference all over, right? So I think main entire India, the taste difference come from the different spices. So, and what spice blend they use between different states. So, how we look at it is like with those ingredients being limited, we should able to build a lot of recipes by changing the spice blend and changing little bit here and there, right? So, so that is actually with that editing the recipe, we can create a large number of recipes which are customer generated content, right? So that is our plan, that we'll give that edit feature and then save, publish kind of thing, so that we have a lot of customer generated recipe which can be put on the platform.
I'm curious, how do you get started on building something like this? Like, what does the process look like to come up with the first prototype?
Yeah, so lot of mind process, right? So initially the key part was, so in a kitchen you see there are many problems, right? Like so if you see in Indian kitchen, there's a roti making, there's a chopping preparation, there's a cooking, there's a cooking of sabji, cooking of dal, right? So this is typical Indian kitchen, and we were identifying what shall we automate. So dal rice, we felt that it is anyway easy, or a simple cooker, right? Or maybe a rice cooker, or maybe a instant pot kind of product solve the problem. And even their pressure cooker solves the problem. It's not that complex. Roti is complex, but it is something that there's a one outcome. We like curries and sabjis and the taste determining products, right? Which is kind of determine entire your food experience at home. So we chose that because you can build up recipe and create a large amount of product. So it's like become a micro product. Like each recipe is a micro product from the Nosh side. So and creators will get involved. There's a word of mouth. There's a always positive outcome based product than a dumb product which does only one thing, right? Maybe it is right, but our thought was like there should be a ecosystem building, and that's why we chose to go behind a curry sabji making, and this is quite versatile because everyone in the world have one product which is done through this process. Like flat-based are only India or maybe few countries. Well, this is something where every culture has few dishes which are done this way. So we like that global appeal to this product also, and how much cuisine it can address by just doing this. So that's why we chose this product. After that, the key part was getting the dispenser right. The biggest concern when I started was spice dispenser. It has to be super precise. It should not get stuck. It should dispense correct amount, right? So spice dispensing was the most complex problem. So we started with that. So in our thought process, like whatever is hardest, you should address first. Because you fail at that, there's no point doing other things. Right? So like, let's do spice. If it gets ready, we'll build this product, otherwise not. Right? So spice dispenser is where we focus. We got it right through a couple of iterations. And then ingredient dispenser was, when first POC came out, ingredient dispenser was not very well thought through. The spice dispenser was perfect. Ingredient dispenser was like, there's a funnel, you open it, food will fall. And what we realized is you have to shake it to fall, something gets stuck to the wall. There are a lot of challenges on that. So then we came up with a new ingredient dispenser, which is currently going. But like it was an idea got proven, but then final detail, how it make very, very cleaning friendly, all that went into over the years. And stirring. So stirring, actually the stirrer took almost 27 iteration in the idea stage itself to get it right, because this stirrer should be able to manage different type of food, the gravy, semi-gravy, dry, right? Something has to they have to cook something like suji, which is quite small, and a chicken piece which is like big, right? So it has to be that universal. So it took a lot of iteration to get it right, and we got it right at idea stage, and got it patented. So everything right in the food required that iteration, and I think we underestimated how food complexity is, right? Like, so I knew hardware before, but I knew from a distance, I would say. But when we started working on dispensing, we realized like so many type of ingredient, so many different behaviors, and we had to get all that right. I remember initially we had a problem with chicken was when you are dispensing, little skin gets stuck under the dispenser. So it is stuck there. It doesn't fall there, fall from it. And it's like, it is just half a mm of skin that went in, right? And there's a good amount of weight there, but it didn't come out. So there are a lot of those challenges we face in the journey.
Right. You were speaking a while ago when we were chatting offline about hiring and difficulties in hiring, and that the kind of talent needed to work on a problem such as this, it's still quite rare in India. Can you comment a little bit about like what's the team setup like? How did you build the team that is working on this?
Yeah, so we had right now we are 27 people team. Most of them are in engineering. How we build about a team, which is like actually our approach kept on changing. So idea stage, we mostly hire freshers. And this fresher who has participated in a lot of competition, built some robot, participated in Robocon, that has been our criteria. Like, and they should be passionate about this problem. So these were the two criteria from which we hired the fresher, and it quite worked out because they were almost thinking like owner, and really building, like really getting the idea right through a lot of iteration, quick iterations, right? Like maybe I think initially what I was proud of is like how fast we were iterating on the mechanism, on the things. Within 2 months, right, we will have like 8 type of mechanism built. And this is something we were at idea stage, we were very, very quick. Then once the alpha prototype came out, we started looking for people who understand design for manufacturing, right? So that's another scarce resource. So we got experienced people there, at least 4 year plus experience we got in for DFM, and overall basically that idea POC to product journey has experienced people who came in, and those people actually contributed to get the right product right for the production. So a lot of time we have to go back to idea because like spice dispenser, right? We had a spice dispenser, works perfectly beautifully, like no issue with it. But problem was it was working only for machining process, CNC machining process, and it was costly, and it was done in metal, and so we were trying to get it done in plastic. It didn't work. The mechanism didn't work, and we had to reiterate entire mechanism because it couldn't be manufactured at the scale. Right? So those are the changes we went through.
Got it. Going on a bit of a tangent here, can you comment a little bit on what do you think is missing in the education system with how you've been building your team, let's say they might be coming from streams such as electrical engineering, mechanical, robotics, that sort of a background. What do you think that the colleges of India can do better to have a better output?
Yeah, actually, there is one big thing, right? All this stream curriculum is outdated. Like, if you see what mechanical engineers learn, score mark with, right? In the industry, not usable. They get DFM, plastic engineering cover as a one subject. No, DFM is a one subject in which they cover plastic, sheet metal, everything in a final year, right? So uh, people who has not participated in any competition or not done hands-on work. So firstly, hands-on work universities don't ask for. They have to participate in some competition or do some external activity to really get hands-on with it. So that is a one breakage, because typically mechanical engineer, let's say, scored the highest in the class. If they have not done hands-on work, they are not useful currently,
Right.
right? That is the situation. So that's actually the biggest challenge. Like, they study outdated thing, and they are not hands-on. Like, I think all the curriculum has to encourage more hands-on thing, so that the people would be able to do something, right? So that is one big, I think, difference that has to be focused on. And see, with given all that, right, hardware is hard, and there are only few people can do it. That is not going to change. At least same with India, US. Like, very few people will able to change that. And it is not just about college not getting right, but it is also about industry not being present, right? So there are not industry which is hiring so many people. Maybe 1-2 year they will be in mechatronics, and eventually they move to computer science, right, or IT, right? So industry not being present is a larger challenge than college is not getting right, because
Right.
finally anyone has entered, at least they expect a job there, and industry is minuscule, so that that people are mostly move out to other streams, right? So that's
Right.
the challenge.
Do you think, is there anything the government of India can do to encourage more adoption and growth in this industry?
So actually, I think government of India has realized it and doing a lot of things right, right? So firstly, there are a lot of grants hardware startups can get. So and building a POC stage, right, or getting validation of idea is very much possible just by government funding, right? You don't even have to raise angel funding for that. So that is the beauty of it. Like, we ourselves got about 1 crore worth of money for just through grants, right? So that way I would say government India is doing right things, and these are not very hard. Like, any average startup also can get at least 25-30 lakhs of grant. So that is, I think, a good thing about what government taken initiative. Second thing also government is doing, which is building the industry, right? So there are a lot of production linked subsidiaries coming in. Then there's a import duties, right? So I think currently government of India has this thought process that what are the top 3 imports, you put high duty on it and try to localize it. So that is going to make a huge difference, right? And at least product we consume in India start getting built in India, right? Not say that, let's say, it is still designed as per the design which is done outside, but at least they start getting built in India. It will bring in the ecosystem. It will take its own time, but I think the move is right. We are trying to localize more and more products, right? So that will build industry, that will build the capabilities. So I'll give you an example. Let's say injection molding, right? People who really are skillful in India, right, are handful, maybe 500 to 1,000 people. Right? So 1,000 people in India who understand injection molding to that level, right? A small number. So with more and more things getting built here, this number of people only will increase. And though they are mostly trying to do others' design initially, but the capability will build so that they can do their own design. So that way, government is doing right things, but it's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight. It will take a decade to get right, to for the changes to come in. But I am very positive that industry has been built up. Lot of almost every consumer durable or consumer product which were getting imported now started building in India, and that will change entire ecosystem. The cost will reduce, the component and availability will change, expertise will build up. So we are in right path, but it will take its own time.
Right. I want to go back for a second to prototyping. Let's say for someone looking to start a startup such as this, they might be into building some kind of appliance or some kind of automatic robotic type of application, hardware component. What does the actual process of building the prototype look like? Like, what do you need? How do you source the materials, equipment, and so on?
So good part is prototyping is, so see, any city you go, any good city, any metro city or tier 1 city you go, around that there is a good industry to do some small work like prototyping work, or they are building something like sheet metal, plastics. So industry is there, and then government has set up this kind of maker spaces also. So we got supported by IKP Eden, which is in Kormangla, and our all prototyping work happened there, and that gave us the speed that we needed initially. Like I was talking about 23 iterations of stirrer, right?
Right.
I can do it in a month or so because I had all the equipment that were required there. So there are these maker spaces which has all the equipment. There are a good amount of small industry also outside where you can get your prototypes done. And what is lacking maybe is that professional prototype manufacturers are lacking, which are not there in India. So like this SME, small manufacturer we addressed, the challenge for them is the moment they get a larger order, your order will be sidelined. So you can't predict once you give the order when it is going to come back, right? So there are no professional player there, but if you're determined enough, you can get it done.
Right.
These maker spaces are quite good. You can do basic prototyping, quick prototyping there. So that is the process. I think being a hardware startup, you should always go and take a seat in any of the maker spaces that present in the city. 3D printing, there are enough and more 3D printers. Urethane casting is also available. So these are the plastic prototyping processes which are widely available now in India. PCB small volume also very easy to manufacture with more than enough vendor for it. So prototyping is easy. You can build a lot of only thing is how you maintain the speed. Most of time the small vendor where you're prototyping, let's say sheet metal or any metal part or a machining part, you have to, like we call it sit on their head to get it done. Basically, sometimes you are just present there. We need to send one person who is sitting there to make sure that that person makes it. Right? He's not doing anything but waiting for that part to get done from the vendor. So those are the challenges are there, but I think it will improve over time.
Right. During the early stages, how does the financing of this work? Like for a new founder thinking of starting a hardware startup, How should they think about it? Is it bootstrapped? Do you gather up some personal capital? Where do you find grants that can be applicable to you? What does a venture capital ecosystem look like for early stage startups in hardware?
Yeah. So on the funding side, right, as I mentioned previously, there are a lot of grants. There are enough angels trying to take bet on hardware. I feel that there's a, like, we have affinity towards hardware, like we respect it more. So you'll find angels who are taking the bet on this kind of thing. So angel investment is present. Hardware, grants are present. So till idea stage, like few crores, 1-2 crores, you have enough things. So you can prove your idea, you can do initial user trial, get the data. Those are all possible. But unfortunately, hardware require more money, right? So a typical hardware at least require $2 million to get a product which is which you can launch in the market. B2C, B2B, B2B is little lower, but B2C is typically of that range. And that kind of capital is like it's not easily available. You have to, like, very few people get access to that capital, right? So once idea is proven, reaching the 2 million is the hardest journey that you are going to hit, because very few VCs will take a bet on it, and they have so many people building hardware. So you have to get so much thing right to really get that money.
Right.
So yeah, that's more of a funding process. And for idea proving, you have the funding. To take it to mass production, the funding is really the fight.
Right. What does the 10-year vision for Nosh look like? Where do you see this in the next 10 years?
Yeah, so like at Nosh, where we want to play is like we want to automate anything and everything that happen in the kitchen, right? So right now, as I told you, we targeted one process to automate, which is a pan or cooker based cooking. We are going to all over. We are going to tackle the preparation, which is our first priority, and roti, flatbreads, bread making as a second thing. So, and then there are a lot of process that happens in the other countries that also will be automating it. So our idea is like we should have a product which automate everything that happens in the kitchen worldwide. Like that is our vision, and we will be building products on that. So initially we are taking appliance approach, which is you build one by one appliances and launch in the market. One day we envision that we'll be taking kitchen approach. So we say that forget about everything. You don't have to buy appliance. We'll sell you a customized kitchen. So you get the kitchen, all automation is built in. It has fridge which is also built in, so that this system can take ingredients. You don't even have to load it, right? So a complete automatic kitchen is what we envision to do.
Right.
And that's where we are heading to. So one by one we automate all the processes and then bring all together to automate a kitchen.
Right. You spoke earlier about starting this somewhere around 2018. So we're coming up on just over 6 years now. So that's quite a long time to be kind of focused on this mission. And I see a lot of optimism and energy in you about this mission. Do you have any advice for earlier stage startup founders on how do you get this kind of longevity? How do you maintain this optimism over a long period?
Yeah, so there is one thing, right? So actually what happens is a lot of time I get approached by people saying that they want to build this kind of hardware. And the first thing I told them is don't do it. It's super hard, you'll fail. I give all negative advice, right? And even after they come back and say we have built it, that means you have right to be a hardware entrepreneur, because it takes time, it takes patience, it takes lot of pain, right, to build a hardware company. So if you have a I think fail fast attitude has to be adjusted for hardware. So you have to, like, whenever you are doing hardware, you at least 3 years of commitment you have to give, and say that 3 years I'm going to focus on this, because then only something will happen.
Right.
It is not that. So we are under a very hard problem, right? But if you take a simpler problem also, let's take, for example, we are building a IoT connected washing machine. Okay, and getting this right will also take at least 2.5 years. Right? So it takes time. You should come in if you have that kind of patience, and also the ecosystem like family support or money in the bank, right? Then you should do it. Half-heartedly, hardware can't be done, right? So I think that is passion for the problem is the, I think, most important thing. If you have very high passion for the problem, you can be patient and do this. Then only you should do a hardware company,
Right.
Yeah. Lot of advice on hardware. Like we can have a separate podcast on that. But generic advice is always buy, not build. Like we personally, knowing this from years, right? I always get this wrong, that when I choose a build decision versus buy, it takes a lot of time to get stable hardware build,
Right.
even a small thing. So always build, always buy if it is available and doesn't change customer experience. And like build less hardware. So that is another thing. So you have a problem. Don't try to build too much hardware for it. Like make the problem simple. Make your architecture simpler so that you have less amount of problem. Like getting reliability right in hardware is not very well understood. It is so painful to get it right. So build less hardware, right? Even you build hardware, see how you can build less hardware. That is my overall learning so far over the years.
Got it. So, since you've started this like back in 2018, what would you say are some things that you know now about this journey, about building the startup, about building Nosh, about building an appliance that you didn't know earlier?
Yeah, so I think so. I kind of knew hardware is hard, and I knew it on a electronic product context. So electronic product is maybe a PCB, an enclosure, maybe a display kind of thing. Right? So I when I started, I estimated that it will take 3 years to build this. But when the moving parts get involved, right, the problem become 10 times complex than a steady, non-moving part product. And in that, food get involved. It become another 10 times complex problem, because food means cleaning. Food is like different. Actually, material challenge is so big because different food react with different material. Not all material can be used, right? It has to be food grade, food safe. Every minute detail that goes into making it safe for food is too much. And then anything food touches has to be clean. That itself is a big challenge, right? So those are the broad thing I think I didn't understood in the start. Second thing maybe I know now is that you should build overly successful software company and then build hardware company, because see, it requires a lot of funding. It requires a lot of money, and then getting that money easily is not that easy in hardware. So maybe a prior success will short circuit this process, right? And that is a big advantage. So that is, I think, two things I realized over time, right? Like funding is not easy in hardware, and you need a lot of prior history to get that easily. Like it's otherwise it's super challenging, because there are not too many success story so that people will jump to fund a hardware company. So at least we have something now, right? When Grey Orange or Aether started, there was nothing, right? So at least some of these company had built that prior ecosystem. So we have some amount of positivity on the hardware now. But still, like number of people building hardware versus funding available is a good ratio.
Right.
Yeah.
What did your journey look like before you started this company? Like, what were some of your previous roles? What were you up to before starting Nosh?
Yeah, so I studied electronic product design at Indian Institute of Science. So I was always passionate about building something new, bringing something new to the world, right? And with that was my passion. But that time I didn't have courage, so I joined a company called Analog Devices. I was it is a semiconductor company developing chips. So I was working for it for good 3.5 years. Then realized this is not something I want to do forever in my life. I felt I have to build something exciting. So that's where I exited and joined a very early stage company called Lumos. So Lumos was a wearable tech company. I joined as a CTO of that, and there we were building. So overall idea was like wearables have not changed, and we'll build some tech for the wearable. And a lot of people were doing watches and bands. We thought we'll not go there, and we went into bags, like smart backpacks. So backpack, and these were niche application like solar backpack, safety backpack for a commute cyclist. So those were the things we were building. We did a Kickstarter campaign, got a good number of orders there, mostly selling in Europe. And yeah, that one thing that happened there was like we couldn't build a backpack for the Europe quality. Like I think quality was one challenge where it didn't work out for us, because there are a lot of cyclists in Europe. We could sell easily, but then matching their existing backpack quality with our tech-enabled backpack was the one gap we couldn't close it. It didn't work out. I did consultancy for some time, and then during that this idea came in, so I started with this.
Can you speak a little bit about where were you in life when you decided to take the leap? Like, how did you get the courage? How did your friends and family react?
Yeah, so I'm Gujju, right? So somehow everyone wants to do something of their own, right way or wrong way, but we always want to do something of our own. So I think the inspiration started when I was in 9th or 10th class, where there was thing about, I think Dhirubhai Ambani passed away, and there were like that time newspaper was the main media, and they were always talking about him, how his journey has been, and so that kind of gave that kick that I wanted to start something of my own, right? So this is from 9th, 10th class, but I was more tech inclined. I like science, I like physics. I wanted to build around tech, right? So tech and engineering. So I did go through mostly the engineering streams, and but always wanted to build something. Even during the graduation, post graduation, we were always thinking, what can we build? Can we sell? Did some of the project and try to sell it to local people, local businesses. So that passion was there from like. I think the understanding was sometime कभी ना कभी तो धंधा करना है ऐसे. So that was like, though I am very technically oriented, I had that I want to do something of my own, and that's where even like for like after graduating my BTech, I told my parents also like I'll take up some job, but eventually I'm going to do something of my own. In fact, even my partner, when we met only, I was like, see, I'm in job right now, but within 1 or 2 years, I'm going to exit. So it was so much there. Immediately after ISC, I didn't have that courage because I have not seen the world so much out. I had mostly seen tech, engineering, technology, I didn't see the world out. So that time I couldn't find the courage to do it. After I joined the company, I saw the world a little bit. Tried parallelly also we tried couple of ideas, and home automation and neonatal care and all that I was exploring while I was working at analog devices. So that gave me eventually the courage to come out. And parents, partners were always knowing this more or less, because I from day one I was like orienting them to that. So parents, so almost like from 10th class or 12th class, I was always been saying this. So yeah, there was no hesitation there.
Right.
Yeah.
So you always had it in you.
Yeah, I always wanted to do, like no matter what, I always wanted to do
Right.
it. And I think that's where it kind of worked out. But see, when you're an entrepreneur, you always feel that there is always, see, I spent 6 years, right? And 6 years of life is not a short time. People who are with me are different places, right? And parents sometimes feel that, partners sometimes feel that, like, okay, see, this is guys, they are rich. So there'll be always this comparison part of it. Thankfully, due to partner and family members, like financially there's no trouble, but um, you feel the difference, right? There's a thing about is like Sharma ji ka beta kya kar raha hai.
Right.
So the difference you'll always find, and you have to, and sometimes you also feel that, and you should tell yourself that, okay, this is the path you chose, and we know this is going to happen, and that's why you have done it. So yeah, so those are things which keep coming in, but we know that this is the path you have chosen, and then you knew hardware is hard, still doing it. So you can't find excuse for it. Yeah.
Right. What does a typical day at work look like for you?
Yeah, so it change over time. Currently, since we are in production, right? So we have first meeting, early meeting internally, saying that these are the production issue identified. What have we done for it, and how we are managing it? And then we have a company with a meeting with a factory, saying that you had to fix this thing. Where are we on that, right? So currently, I think my major thing goes into project management of things happening smoothly. Then there are new projects that we have started. I talked about accessory development and stuff. So that is another thing where I spend time. And majority of time is going into also recipes, what recipe to develop, how are they coming in. So in fact, for me, it's like this distraction every time, because I sit work for some time, and then chef will bring a dish to me and say that taste this, right, and see how it is, what we can improve. So yeah, so I'm wearing multiple hats right now, and so currently production and getting recipe right is the core focus.
Right.
Yeah.
How do you look at work-life balance? And I'm sure over the 6 years you must have seen many, many ups and downs. So how do you deal with the roller coaster? How do you manage stress?
Okay, there's okay. So the long answer to it, right? So on the work-life balance part, I think I'm the thinking process that it should be work-life harmony. You should enjoy your work, and even in the team, we say that if you are not thinking about your work in the shower, you should not doing that work. Like Paul Graham taught us, but that is the overall idea, that if you're not thinking about work in shower, maybe you're not passionate about it, and you should not be doing it. So I think that way. That way there's a mental satisfaction that is coming in, but it takes time, right? So I spend 11 to 12 hours in the office every day. Saturdays also, most of Saturdays I'm working. So so where I miss is, like, maybe I sometimes I feel that I should spend more time with my kid, um, and that's where I think I feel little imbalanced. But overall, quite happy the way I'm able to drive. Family is also happy. Things are in balance. There is no imbalance as such right now, right? Sometimes it comes, but then it goes in. I think stress management. So stress, I am actually built. I don't know. Naturally, I am able to take stress very well, and so when I was in Lumos, right, I met Tejas Network CTO, and his thing was like always think about controllables and not put outcome, right? So you want to reach the outcome. If you keep thinking about outcome, it will stress you out. Think what is in the your control and what you can do best, right? So think about controllables and less of the outcome. Outcomes are important, but so you were giving their example, right? Let's say Jetty or Huawei gives launch a new generation product which is 10 times better. So we don't have that capability to reach there. But then you see which market you can solve that, and how you can make this product better, how fast you can move, right? So whatever you can control, you think about that rather than whichever you can't control. So that way, so I'm a person that doesn't get stressed easily. I always find a positive thing to think about, right? So that way, I'm aggressive. Sometimes things doesn't move that give me little stress, but I know that this is my control and we should able to control it. So so mostly that way I don't get stressed out so much. I think the one journey which I remember I was most stressed about is when our entire cloud kitchen business went away during the COVID, right? So there were 3-4 months around there. Because this was so initially when I started, I gave 3 years of my time, and it kind of felt like in 3 years nothing will happen. What we envision, and we had like 1.5-2 year of effort that has gone into that opportunity, and we have all positive thinking about it. So that was the one period where I was a bit stressed, but then always thinking about controllables, right? Like gave that positive thought process, like, okay, enterprise is not working, what will work? Go meet SMEs, figure out what can work, what has to be changed. If not, then so that way, I think that controllable thought process give me a good peace of mind. Like, okay, any outcome is not happening, then think about what you can do. Think about controllables. So,
right. I can see you have a very sort of calm demeanor about you. So during your office, like when you're working, so do you find yourself as being the one who's like bringing that sense of calm in the meeting, or like what kind of role do you play?
So I think I play pusher role. Basically, I am the one who get everything fast and push everyone to. So more or less, the role is that so people are there, and not to let them go in their comfort zone, right? And actually, no one wants to work in comfort zone. Everyone wants to get better out of themselves, right? So my role is to get them reminded about it, and also guide and indicate whenever you are not that is not happening, right? And one over these years, right? So one in our company they're saying that outcome will anyway come slow, but action has to be fast. If your action is delayed, outcome will not come. Right? It will not come slow. It will not come. There is a hardware thing.
Right. Patience with the results, impatience with action.
Yeah. So that is my main role. Like at the same time, if there is a unpleasant news, I am the calmer for the people, saying that this will happen. We'll take care of it, and there are enough and more unpleasant news come, like when they're not supplying on time, when they're supplying better, wrong quality, lot of things come in, right? So I'm the calmer, saying that, okay, this is what we have prepared for ourselves. So go sit in their head.
Right.
Right. So that's the process.
So how do you look at the market for this product? Like, how do you think about the addressable market? How do you think about the market in India versus outside India?
Yeah. So the thing is, like, we eat 3 times a day, right? And food plays actually very important part in everyone's life. So market wise, as I told earlier, we feel that dual working families and couples are the early target, the choosy ones, and this will be mostly urban product. So this is Gurgaon, Bangalore, Mumbai, Pune, Hyderabad, Chennai. So that's the main where the orders will come from, is what we have realized. And then there's a second market in India, which is the excited market, right? So somehow we believe that Coimbatore and Ahmedabad are two cities which are a different grade. The purchase decision they take are very different from how a city like Bangalore think about, right? So in Bangalore, you will always think about is this good? Like it, there is a value, no value. You will calculate all those things and do costing and all that. While if you go to Ahmedabad or Coimbatore, if food they taste, they like, they'll buy. So surprisingly, this time we did a pre-order campaign. There's a lot of order from Coimbatore, and people came from Coimbatore to Bangalore just to see the product. And these are not a dual working household. These are like a normal household, but somehow there's a different type of trigger there. So these are the two primary market we'll be focusing on. And if you talk about the numbers, like so let's say dishwasher, right? Dishwasher today does 3 lakh units a year, right? So, and this is still niche product, not found calling in Indian house, and it sells because what we'll do when maid doesn't come, right? So for that purpose it is being sold. So but it is able to churn good numbers. So overall TAM wise, India won. As per the Bloom, it is like India won. The Poland is the opportunity we are going after. The income range and the number. So that is around 10 lakh household. So that is the current customer segment we are looking at, which is India one, the Poland one, right? And going forward, it will penetrate even deeper. So product is not very costly. So it is a 50,000 product. And today, if you see in the household, they buy this kind of product very regularly. Like I think AC has changed the perspective. Like people started buying AC, which is around that range. So people don't consider this as a very highly costly product. And so dual working will buy for all food occasions, which is their regular food and the weekend food, the guest food, all food occasion, the dual working couple will be buying for. While the other segment will be buying for special occasion. When guests come in, you want to eat something different, better, it will become a restaurant replacement for them. And this purchase would be not that they want to buy it because they are going to daily cook something, but they want to cook something interesting. That's why they are going to buy it. So that's our understanding of the digital market in India. So overall, both we can easily score 1 lakh unit per year sales in these two markets is what we believe. And this is going to just grow, right? Because financially things are becoming better, people have more spending capability, they are spending well. So this is going to improve over time. NRI is another opportunity, right? And this is something that NRI get very excited about, and they want it. Like there is nothing in the market and they want it. So that opportunity is also quite large. in US itself, I forgot actually exact number, but around 9 million Indian household who are earning more than 100K, right? So that is a good number and it is well distributed. So even US, NRI itself is a good market, and then we go to Middle East, UK, South Africa, Australia. So put together, it become a good market for NRIs. So we should so till reaching few lakhs a year, right? Let's say 2 to 5 lakhs a year is very much feasible, is what we believe. After that, we'll need effort and push beyond this comfort customer zone. Internationally, push beyond Indian diaspora, maybe to Asian household or other household. In India, we have to push beyond this and maybe come up with a subscription model, stuff like that. So idea is that let's reach 1 lakh a year number, and which is very much feasible. In fact, like in our thing, we feel that 5 lakhs a year number is very much feasible between NRIs and India.
Right.
And that would be mainly targeting for. Post that, we'll try to go deeper with better other products and business model improvement. Like maybe India, we give on subscription where you pay monthly only, you don't have to buy. So those kind of things will come out with.
Right. So today, Nosh is optimized for Indian cuisine. What do you think, or correct me if I'm wrong?
No, actually. So see, the mechanism, the hardware is capable enough, right, to do all type of cuisine. Whichever is a pot-based dish, it can cook it, right? So Italian, Mexican, Asian, it can address it very well. The chef team, the recipe creation team is optimized for Indian cuisine.
Right.
So we get more recipe creator for other cuisine. We can build other cuisine also. Like right now, because you have to focus somewhere, right? And do, like, let's say it makes pastas, it makes chow mein, it makes moko tofu, and bunch of Asian dishes. So, but the taste is Indianized. A Chinese will not like that taste, right? Though it is a dish is Asian, but it is Indianized taste because we are targeting them and it is optimized, our chef is optimized for it. So later on, the recipe has to be changed for addressing different segment, which is also not that difficult.
Right. Can you talk a little bit about what the supply chain for taking this to production looks like from sourcing raw materials to assembly to manufacture? Does it all happen in India in different cities?
Yeah, so it happens in India. So we have working with a contract manufacturer, and eventually they are going to do everything. Currently we are hand-holding the supply chain. Maybe next 2 years we'll be still hand-holding the supply chain. So our sheet metal come from India, our plastics come from India, our PCBs are manufactured in India. Our display and motors come from China. Couple of other electromechanical part come from China. And so the electromechanical part will be Indianized soon. The display and the motor will take some time. Currently we don't have any option, right? So there are motor manufacturer in India, but they don't manufacture motor as per our specs. Once we reach the volume, they will, right? So supply chain, actually, why supply chain is so hard, right? Because one side you have to reach volume to get a supplier excited, and to reach volume you need initial build which are very reliable. So there's a lot of negotiation, lot of discussion, lot of convincing goes to a supplier. And like I would say supplier convincing is also major part of building hardware startup. Like if you don't get right supplier excited, you can't build a quality product that you want to build. And this will be all promise, excitement, like how you excite your investor.
Right.
at least 50% of that you need to do for supplier as well.
Right. What advice would you give to someone who's looking to build a kitchen appliance?
So, firstly, right, building a kitchen appliance is a great category, because so if you look at everything we do in Indian do, right, so we always look up to West, education, right, gaming, everything we look up to West. But food is something we don't look up to West. We say that we are better, right? And this is it is in our blood, saying that वहाँ पे तो कुछ भी खाते हैं, हमको नहीं चलेगा ऐसे, right? So that way, but if you see kitchen appliances are built for West. It is not built for India,
Right.
LG, Samsung, they always think what will work in US and not that seriously about India. They will make some small modification, but they are not going to build a product for India. So while our Indian manufacturer like Godrej or Kent or whatever, whoever we talk it, they are mostly the white label guys. So they will have a product which is built for Chinese. The China is building their own product and they'll try to fit in the Indian consumer. But there's no one building for India. Like Indian consumer are actually orphan, right? Like no one is taking care of it. So while there was a paying mass was small, and that's why maybe that is the case. Now the paying mass is increasing, so there is a good opportunity to build a kitchen appliances for India, and there will be small to big opportunity. I think one realization is like for India, if you're building, don't compromise on taste and don't compromise in their choices. They want to customize everything, and they will not follow even a best chef recipe you put in. They want their recipe, and this is something we realize over time. So think about that, right? How you enable them to cook food for their taste, right? And taste come first, second come for the effort saving. So they want convenience, but not at the cost of taste. So if you balance that, there is a good opportunity there, and there are enough and more opportunity that can be done. Like I think no one is doing it because no one is thinking about it. It is hard. So no one is also doing it.
Are there any books, courses, blogs that you would recommend to someone who's starting to learn more about this, whether that's in robotics, electrical engineering, manufacturing, appliances?
So a lot of resources are there, but actually when I will speak about as a hardware entrepreneur, what should you read, right? So there's a book by Tony Fadell called Build. That is a good handbook. You can keep reading, keep learning new thing, and keep challenging your thought process if you're building a hardware company. So I think that's a great book to read. A lot of our thought process come from that. Second is there's a blog by a VC called Bolt VC. Their blog is actually a good guideline for any hardware entrepreneur. You can know the process, you know the complexity, you know what hardware opportunity you should go behind, right? So all those you can learn from that. So these are two things you can keep referring to. You keep learning new things. Keep challenging your thought process. Like for any entrepreneur, they should read a book which keep challenging their own thought process. So these are the good resources for that.
Are there any role models that you look up to? Like, okay, this person or this company does production or hardware really well.
So for me, I think Tarun and Aether Energy is kind of role model. How they went about it, how they made sure the product is great. Actually, how they could build this great product starting in India, right? So that they are because there are a lot of Western role models, right? But you have to finally work into like Indian ecosystem, because each role model play in a different ecosystem. So I think that is someone we go back to a lot. Like, what has been their journey? How did they address this? How did they think about this? So we meet them, we understand them. Actually, my previous startup, almost everyone joined Ether Energy. So we have a lot of knowledge about internal things. So I think that's the role model we follow right now.
Right.
The Western, we have a lot of people, like lot of Apple products, Tesla, but we have to contextualize that, putting in where we are, right? So that's where Ether is a great example for us.
What's next for Nosh? Like, what are you looking forward to in the next 6 to 12 months?
So yeah, 6 to 12 months for us, getting the production line churning regularly, like solving all the hiccups, basically make it run without our attention, right? So that is going to be the first thing. Second thing, also the marketing engine. So far we have been a product company, never marketed much. So that is building the marketing team, building the engine, which keep churning, keep getting orders. Third is entire customer support. So customer support and service is actually the main focus right now. After production, there is going to be the main focus of me saying that how we build up so that customer face issue we can address like with a one-day chat. And this is not just about hiring people, putting people, and this is about putting auto diagnosis in the product, making the system, making the processes so that the NOSH itself will say that this is wrong with it, right? So the service guy should not take second visit to the customer. Like in one visit, it should get fixed. He should carry the perfect part, and that has been our focus. It has been put in the system also, but really seeing it happening, right? There will be learnings, corrections, and fourth is like launch in US. So these are the 4 areas that we are looking at in next 8 to 12 months.
Right. Can you share where can someone go to learn more about Nosh? Where can we follow you on socials, or how do we place an order?
Yeah, so you can go to our website, letsnosh.io, where you can know about the product and also place a pre-order. You can follow us on YouTube and Instagram, where we keep updating our videos, talk about the product. So yeah, that's the good channel, and you can really explore. This is a product where you don't believe easily, but it is really happening. It is really, there is a product which is cooking completely automatically for you, right? You have a lot of skepticism. We know there is going to be skepticism because a lot of people have over-promised it, saying that this can make so many recipes for you, but then there is a lot of effort to make it.
Right.
This is really truly automatic. So you can check it out, come taste the food and believe in it, right? So testing is the believing. Yeah, you can check us out and order if you like. Yeah.
Awesome. Look, Yatin, thanks so much for doing this. I think this has been like a really insightful and learning conversation for me, and I'm sure for the audience as well. And yeah, I'm excited to follow you and the rest of Nosh's journey.
Thank you. Thanks for hosting me, and it has been great conversation.